Welcome to Immigration Quicktake. This is Jessica Eyes with the American Immigration Lawyers Association. Since the bipartisan Immigration Reform Bill S.744 passed out of the Senate Judiciary Committee on May 22nd, we've seen some developments on the reform front. Not only have there been rumblings in the House about an immigration bill, but today marked the beginning of the floor debate on the Senate immigration bill in the Senate. Here to discuss these issues is Chen, AILA Advocacy Director. First and foremost, Greg, Raul Labrador left the Gang of Eight in the House of Representatives. What does this mean?
Sure. Well, Raul Labrador was a key member in the House Gang of Eight that had been negotiating a bill that we haven't seen come out yet. His departure, announced earlier this week, is unfortunate because I think they've been making some real progress in the House. And my understanding is the Gang of now 7 continues to work forward in negotiating a bill. Even with his departure, I think the fact that they continue to work on something indicates there's some real efforts and bipartisanship to go forward in getting a bill done. And that's really where the game is at here, to make sure that the House continues to demonstrate its interest in this and commitment to getting something done. A lot of that's going to be reliant on the House leadership, John Boehner and Cantor. And all signals so far are that there's still some real commitment to doing it.
As I mentioned earlier, today in the Senate they begin floor debate on the immigration bill. How will this play out?
So technically the Senate has already begun the procedural parts of its floor debate on the immigration bill, but in earnest we won't see debate happen until next week. This is going to be a very active process. We'll probably see well over 400 or 500 total amendments that are going to be offered. And I think it'll be in some ways very similar in terms of the tenor of what we saw happen in Judiciary Committee, but with just a lot more members that are going to be involved. And I think the important thing to recognize here is that we have a fairly good product coming out of the Senate Judiciary Committee, and to make sure that all the members understand what the components are. It's not everything that AILA wanted in the bill, and we want to make sure that people understand the areas where improvement needs to be made, and to try to explain to all the members what some of the improvements are and good aspects of the bill are.
What does next week look like, and what can AILA members do?
So logistically, next week we will be actively sending up information to the Senate. And since we're talking about the full body here of 100 members, as compared to the 18 that are in Judiciary Committee, we're doing more of this electronically, getting talking points and materials that people can understand, analysis. And as members of AILA, I think the best thing that you can do is to be contacting your Senate offices, explain to them the components of the bill, kind of typical constituent advocacy. There's a lot of material that we have that's already posted on the internet. And it's important for you to explain to many members of the Senate who are not nearly as familiar with the bill as we saw in Judiciary Committee. Many of them have not focused on immigration for a long time. So you got to explain to them what's wrong with the bill, what's good in the bill, so they can understand how to vote.
What are our important messaging points that members should be aware of?
So our key messages going forward probably fall into a few areas. One, the border triggers we know is going to continue to be a very hotly debated issue. From AILA's perspective, the border enforcement provisions are very tough already in the bill, and we would not want to see any additional border provisions added that would hold hostage the legalization plan to go forward. We did a report back in February that showed how unprecedented the level of border enforcement is already, and the Senate bill adds more to it. So let's make sure we keep the program and the provisions reasonable. Another area related to enforcement is going to be who is going to be eligible for either legalization or in the future a green card. Again, AILA has done a detailed list that's up on our website, www.aila.org/Senate bill. Lots of talking points are available there. But our one on crimes and national security shows all the tough provisions that are in there already. And our concern is that if they're made even more stringent, we're going to see many people who are deserving of legalization or in the future a green card not even be able to qualify. And that just doesn't make sense in terms of the goals of bringing in to the registration process, the legalization process, people on our terms so we can understand who's in the United States. And the last thing I'll just mention now is the family provisions. in the bill are quite substantial and good, and it makes some important improvements, especially in the context of the backlogs right now in the family immigration components. The one area that AILA continues to be very worried about that we want to highlight is the cut to the sibling categories and the cap placed on the married adult children. There is no component in the bill currently that really will address those cuts substantially, and we're going to see some families really separated. And we've had lots of members, lots of you, write to us with examples about that, and we hope that there will be a change coming in the Senate.
Thank you, Greg, for joining us. For the rest of you, please stay tuned for more updates through Immigration Quicktake from the American Immigration Lawyers Association.